Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use a simulation to estimate probability. So here's the problem. Two resistors with resistance R1 and R2 are connected in series. R1 is normally distributed with mean is 100 ohms and standard deviation 6 ohms. And R2 is also normally distributed with mean 120 ohms and standard deviation 8 ohms. The question is, what's the probability R2 less than R1? So we know we can solve the problem using the linear combination of normal distribution. But now I'm going to show you how to estimate the probability using simulation in Minitab. So simulation, that means we just simulate on the software to simulate the real trials many times. So first, we simulate this R1 resistor. So R1, the resistance follow normal distribution. So every time I pick one, it could be, it's a random variable. It follow normal distribution. So we generate this random variable, follow normal distribution. So we generate 10,000 of them, and we store in R1 column. And the mean is 100, standard deviation 6. Okay. So see, I have 10,000 values. It's all the R1 value since it's a random variable. So every time I pick up one, so the resistance are different from each other. It's not exactly 100, but the center is 100. So I tried 10,000 times. So next, I simulate R2. We use calc random data follow normal distribution. We want 10,000 trials, like 10,000 values. We store in column R2. This time, mean is 120. Standard deviation is 8. Good. Now we have, so every trial, every time we have one R1 resistor, another one R2 resistor. Now the question is, I like to know the probability R2 less than R1. So I use this column to store the value. If it is true R2 less than R1, the value will be 1. Otherwise, it's 0. So we also can use this calculator actually. Calculate R1 is R1, R2 less than R1. So we use if function. If R2, you double click, so R2 will be in the expression less than R1, you double click R1. If this is true, and you give the value 1 in that column, otherwise 0. So see R2 less than R1, so the test result is here is a 0 or 1. So a lot of times it's 0, but occasionally, see, you will find R2 less than R1, got 1. So the probability, how we estimate the probability R2 less than R1. We know the probability is the long run relative frequency. In other words, out of these 10,000 trials, how many times I have 1. So the proportion I have 1, that means that's very close to the true probability as a long run relative frequency. So we can display the basic statistics for this column. Column R2 less than R1. So look at this. Sum together, that's 232. And divided by 10,000, that's mean, right? Just average. So the probability is 0.0232. So that's the long run relative frequency. The long run is 10,000 times. Out of 10,000 times, 232 times R2 less than R1. So this is our estimation. So what's the true probability? We did our calculation. So the calculation we defined the new random variable R2 minus R1. And it's also follow normal distribution. We found out the probability is 0.0228. And our simulation estimates the probability 0.0232. So it's very close, not exactly, but it's very close. So this is how we use a simulation to estimate a probability.